Ooh, welcome to Pokemalarkey, episode 23. But if you're an American, episode 22, the Tower of Terror. As you can see, we're still in Spooktober, and I am one of your hosts, Jesse Lobbs, and my other host, Shawn Shaler, is right over there.
Shawn
I'm
Shaler
doing my
hasn't lived
best.
here in 20 years.
No,
Whoa!
oh no. I'm doing my best Bella Lugosi spooky voice for you all. Doing my best to set the mood. Shawn, how are you? What's going on?
Bella Lugastly, am I right?
I hate you.
I hate me too, but despite my self-hatred, I'm great. Personally, I like fall. I don't like winter at all, but I do like fall a lot. I like
Fall's
Spooktober.
great.
I wish I had Spooktober specific things that I'm doing right now, but all I'm actually doing is I decided to jailbreak my Wii U, which means that I will spend about 20 hours moving flash drives and SD cards back and forth and getting mad at things. And then when I finally get it to work, I'll be like, that's neat, and then I'll never touch it
What
again. But that's what I'm doing
does
right now. Still
that
a fun mental
mean?
exercise. Pardon?
I have no idea what that means.
Oh, so if do you know what the Wii U console is, right? So
I remember I remember a console being terrible and a lot of people buying it, and I think that was the Wii U.
not a lot of people buying it because it was
Okay.
terrible. But no, but you're right. And so it inherently plays Wii U games and it will also play Wii games. And then by jailbreaking it, by doing dirty things that Nintendo doesn't want you to do, it can also play GameCube games natively
Oh,
because it essentially has a Wii inside of it, and the Wii could play GameCube games. So you jailbreak it so you can flip this little switch, and then you can play digital versions of your GameCube games, but it's
very
now an
cool.
emulation, and digital versions or physical versions of your Wii games and Wii U games. So I'll never use it
Wow.
when I'm done, but it sounds a lot of fun right now. And hopefully it makes itself back together in one piece. How are you? What are you up to? Both questions.
I
Great
am
spooky voice, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you. I did my best. I'm doing great. I actually you know, just just to get us in the mood, I spent a little bit of time today talking to my boyfriend because as doing like prep work for this show, Shawn and I, of course, watch the episodes and we think about Pokemon and we read about it and all that stuff. And I, I started thinking about ghost Pokemon, and I was talking to my boyfriend and thinking about, you know what, Sabrina really wasn't that hard for me to beat, even without even if I didn't go through the trouble of getting a ghost Pokemon, it wasn't that bad. But then I started thinking about ghost Pokemon at all, like writ large, and I remembered my biggest fucking challenge
I know what you're
in
gonna say.
Pokemon, the entire game,
She's my
was
favorite.
only one character, one boss, quote unquote, and that was Agatha of the Elite Four. Um,
She's my hero. I love
and
Agatha.
is that what you thought? Did you know I was going to say that?
Yeah, absolutely. We've
Yeah.
talked about it before, though. To be
God.
fair,
Oh, we have. Damn it.
yes, we have.
Anyway, I'll never. I was telling Josh, my boyfriend, that I'll never ever forget. Like I beat the Elite Four for the first time on a road trip to Florida with my family, um, and I had my Game Boy Color, going through the Elite Four, and every single time I got to Agatha, after it's actually just beating Lorelai and Bruno, and then you get Agatha, and like it wasn't. I never had a problem with Agatha's first couple Pokemon, even though they wrecked me. I beat one of the Gengars, and then what does she do?
Another
Throws out another Gengar because of
Gengar.
course.
Yes, because
Anyway, so
she has friends to trade with,
I
unlike me.
thought I thought about that a lot today, Shawn. I thought about how originally playing the games, Psychic Pokemon, they were cool, and I wanted a few,
Hmm.
but they didn't give me the kind of trouble that the only major ghost type trainer in the originals gave me, because she kicked my ass over and over again. Anyway, that's something I thought a lot about today because I haven't thought about that in a while, and it brought back a lot of trauma.
It is the crux of today's show, and Jesse, if you mind, I'm going to even ask. We'll try to keep our summary and our critique of Ash a smidge shorter because there's at least a smidge of comic in game that we should talk about
Heck
in
yeah.
the same time slot, if that's okay.
All right.
Yeah. Hey, well, that's my best possible segue.
Here we
I didn't
go.
come up with anything clever. Knock us out.
Into the Tower of Terror. Set the scene. Our heroes are going through a forest. Fog. Ookie spooky, ookie bookie. Our heroes are trying to find their way through the fog to find Lavender Town, where ghosts are said to reside at the infamous Pokemon Tower. They get there. They're scared to go in. Team Rocket is already camped up in one of the rooms up in the top of the tower. While they're up there waiting for our heroes to come in, and our heroes are not being particularly heroic because they're terrified. Ghastly scares the shit out of Team Rocket, not only James, but also Jesse and Meowth, and they fall down several floors, and our poor heroes, Ash, Misty, Pikachu, and Brock, are terrified because they hear humans screaming, and it's Team Rocket, based on, partly their own incompetence, but also because Ghastly will not leave them alone. And our heroes decide finally we should go in and investigate. So they go in, they investigate Pokemon Tower, and they discover, ghosts are definitely in here, and we've got to get out. They get out. Ash and Pikachu stay inside, and while they're in there, they meet Haunter and Gengar. So now they've met that whole evolutionary line: Ghastly to Haunter to Gengar, and while they're trying to figure out what the hell is going on with these Pokemon that apparently Professor Oak has done shit about because there's nothing in the Pokédex about them. A Chandelure falls on Ash and Pikachu and momentarily kills them. I don't know, but
they're definitely dead for a little bit.
They're definitely dead because Haunter pulls their souls out and they go on a little adventure together. They fly around, which is very fun. And Ash discovers that, this ghost family just wants someone to play with them, which is very creepy, spooky, because it plays into the whole ghost child thing that will just want someone to play with them, even though they're malevolent, like a malevolent spirit. But it's silly, it's cute, it's jokey. So Ash and Pikachu find their way back to their bodies. They get ready to leave, and Haunter decides he had fun, so he's going to come with them. The episode ends with Ghastly and Gengar. They've got Team Rocket trapped, tied up. They're on a carousel that's spinning at a crazy high speed, and Team Rocket is barfing off again.
Scariest part of the episode is that damn carousel.
It's a silly ass fun episode.
It is, Jesse.
First thoughts, Shawn.
I love this episode so much. To reiterate, I know I've said it before, but in a different episode, this is a VHS, probably the first one I had, maybe the first one I can remember.
Me too,
was
Shawn.
This trio of episodes, and it happens to coincide with I love psychic and ghost Pokemon in the games. I love everything about this goofy ass episode. But I have several notes. I'm going to try to do them in bullet points to try to keep myself on track. First of all these Pokemon in this episode are just lighting humans up. Pikachu is zapping everybody. Meowth just cuts Jesse to pieces. Charmander is literally lighting everybody up. It's just this whole episode is just Pokemon fucking up people. It's great.
I have to talk about that too for just a second.
Please.
Because
No, please.
I also made notes about that.
What's their problem?
I really appreciated that within the first 2 minutes, Pikachu not only shocks the shit out of Brock, he also shocks the shit out of Ash, which is very funny. And then when Charmander's released, they're like, Brock holds that candle, and they're like, Charmander, light that candle. And of course, it burns Brock's face off. And poor Jessie gets slashed in the face by Meowth, and then a fireball from Charmander lights up her hair.
And then later, Charmander lights everybody up. Also,
you're right. God,
this whole episode is just Pokemon getting their revenge on the filthy humans,
beating the crap out of people. Yeah, you're totally right.
Not to mention, Haunter kills Ash and Pikachu for a few minutes. Next note, and this is a big one, is that the Pokemon are stoners. They're all sitting in the basement eating snacks, and they're watching TV, And I believe, if you are very familiar with this, somebody correct me, I believe the TV show is a reference to or like a nod to Kato-chan and Ken-chan, which is kind of a semi-popular, like early 90s-ish era Japanese comedians that had like the slapstick humor thing.
It is very
going.
slapstick, which is fun.
Somebody tell me if that's true or not, if that really is like a nod or if it's just an easy coincidence.
Let us know. I'd love to know that.
Ash has learned nothing from his previous fight with Ghastly because he tries to make Charmander use Leer on a Ghastly. That's his best move. And then at the very end of the episode, after all this stuff goes down, they make friends, and you are very excited. Ash, he's not going to bother these fun-loving Pokemon. He's like, hey, there's nothing to be scared of. They're just a bunch of hilarious stoners. But I am upset that he just leaves. Like, I guess I'll just go back to Saffron City and lose and spend forever in a dollhouse. And that kind of pisses me off, honestly. The other thing maybe if you would like, let's put our stamp on Ash's crap performance before. I would like to note just one video game and one comic book thing.
Ready already?
All right, but do you have any more comments? Do you have any more thoughts?
I just think this whole episode is very fun and silly.
It is.
Like Gengar, there's a moment where Gengar bitch slaps Ash with that stupid fan, and it's great. And then after Meowth slashes Jessie, she pulls out the biggest fucking mallet. Like every single interaction in this episode is slapstick.
Mm-hmm.
So like that moment when Gengar, Haunter, and Ghastly are watching the slapstick comedy, like this entire episode is slapstick.
It's beautiful. This is such a Shawn episode.
Like all of the traditional ghosting things are like that. So it plays into it really well. It's a lot of fun.
It's such a nice flip because it's supposed to be this spoopy
energy.
Yeah,
it's fun.
It's supposed to be this scary thing, and you just got out of this horrifying experience, and you think you're still in there, and they just throw you this stupid curveball of people hitting each other in the face with frying pans, and I love it. It's such a weird, amazing fit between the other two episodes in betwixt which it lies. Ash, the Leer thing kind of made me mad. The fact that he left with nothing kind of made me mad.
He left with a Haunter.
But
Shawn.
No, initially he just left. He's just like, I'll figure it out when I get there. And then so he got a Haunter, but he didn't catch a Haunter. I'm not very happy with Ash in this one. I'm leaning towards a D because he didn't do anything but die and come back to life. The only part I want to give him credit for is that he does go into this horrifying tower. He's on the right path. He's trying to strategically pick and get a Pokemon that's going to work.
He's pretty brave, I feel like.
Maybe a C, a D, C.
I'm giving him a C-.
Okay. I'm glad that you're on the plus-minus scale. I'm going straight C, yeah, because I'm lazy. But just C- is totally fair.
Just meh.
I'm glad that he's taking a strategic approach. He has met with a battle-based challenge, which is something he's supposed to do, and he's responding to it by attempting to catch a Pokemon, which is something he's supposed to do. And he doesn't really do either that well, but he's trying.
Except there's that. We gotta zone in on this beautiful moment where Jessie and James are downstairs. It's pitch black, so Ash can't see down there, and he hears it. And he thinks, "Oh my god, that's a Pokemon down there," and he has Charmander shoot flame down there, and then he throws a Pokeball and it smacks Jessie right in the face.
I forgot about that. It leaves the indent in her face. Oh
God, it's so funny.
Episode 22, Three Stooges. 23.
It's beautiful. It's so great, and of course Jessie is inflamed, literally. Because her hair's on fire, but she's
inflamed
so
and incensed.
God, I love this episode.
I do too. This is
one we've got lots to talk about.
Even out of context, you could just pull this one up and just enjoy the crap out of it. I want to call out the two things from our childhood that will stand out most, and that's that the Lavender Town, of course, was like the horrible rumor when we were all kids, like the dawn of us all having the internet. And it's like, yeah, when you hear the Lavender Town Tower music in the video game, you go crazy and then you kill yourself. And that was a thing that we all worried about for a really long time and took very seriously as children. It's that whole... And like I said, I'll put in the actual music over there. And we were all seriously worried about
It's
it.
terrifying.
It is. It does. In the game, it does a good job of setting the scene. And then also in the game, there's all headstones of dead Pokemon. Like when you walk in the tower, it's all there's actual bunch of dead Pokemon there.
Can we call out the Pokemon Tower here is just as like weird,
just an abandoned
ruin.
Tower of Pisa looking
And
thing.
of course, in the games, it's a Pokemon cemetery. God.
In a building. Why would you put that in a building? But and there's literal headstones and ghosts everywhere. It's pretty scary. It's as scary as the game gets. But very impactful in pop culture, Lavender Town, and a very fun part of the game. And then, as I mentioned, I wanted to catch an Abray, had to get very lucky because they always teleported right away. To catch Ghastly, I don't feel like was quite as bad, and I always wanted both, and I would always immediately both in my team and front them until I had a Kadabra and a Haunter. Absolutely. The other piece I wanted to mention is that here Sabrina is an evil witch child with Sith powers. In the game, she is just kind of a standard gym leader with admittedly pretty good style. And in the comics, I'm not familiar with the comics, but you are, and you can elaborate if you like. She is a member of Team Rocket.
As I have mentioned before, Sabrina was a member of the Triad, which is one of the 3 elite Team Rocket leaders underneath Giovanni, which the other 2 are Koga, who's another gym leader, as you all know, and Lieutenant Surge. So, like, Sabrina is like the cream of the crop, top of her class with the Pokemon League.
She's not S tier bad guy, but she's A tier bad guy.
She's fucking terrifying in the manga. She's really scary. I mean, she's not great here, but
I was gonna say she's kind of doing that right now. Yeah.
You know what? Kanto has a real serious problem that half of its gym leaders are apparently Team Rocket members, but that's for another time.
Yeah, can you vet those things in the application? Be like, hey, do you have any criminal history whatsoever?
Maybe that helps. I mean, if you like Giovanni's the last gym leader you can fight before you go to the Indigo,
that actually makes
Indigo
a lot of
Plateau.
Sense. That checks out. Jesse, what are the ghost Pokemon like, or like the Tower? Are there other more? I would imagine in the manga it can be a little more horrific, just because it is manga that there can, and that's kind of the tone. Does that track?
Well, this is another part of the manga where there's not really like a
good parallel or whatever.
Yeah, okay. Where there's not really an equivalent comparison, which is sad.
Well, we've seen zombies die, and Pokemon get cut in half, so that just put that.
I'm sure it's out there somewhere. It's just not in the piece I've come across yet. But I'm sure when it comes up, it will be horrific.
So I know we don't do as good a job as we used to because there's too many kind of blind spots like that, but I like that we got to take a second to tie in a very culturally significant, pop culturally significant part of the game and of the comics, because Sabrina kind of plays a wildly different role in all 3 spots, and she's also just one of my favorite gym leaders for all the reasons. I think that's my comments
cool gym leader
on this one. Yeah, she's a Sith Lord, and obviously super powerful, and
it takes a ghost, like a literal ghost, to be able to stand a chance.
And so we're excited to tell you how that pans out next time.
Episode.
Come back next time on Pokemalarkey. Pokemalarkey is too goofy of a name to say with a serious voice. Jesse, would you like to spend a few minutes talking about our Pokédjacent topic?
Yes, I would. I would love to. Our Pokédjacent topic for this evening are about our little favorite ghosties. So Shawn and I both found like 3 different ghosts that move us, that speak to us, that whisper something spectral into our dark, dark hearts. So I'll go first. I'll give you I focused just on Pokemon. So out of the 3 ghosts that really stick out to me in the Pokemon world, I didn't choose any of my favorite. Like Gengar's a favorite because Gengar is a ridiculous
Overpowered.
hooligan.
Yes.
Yeah, an overpowered hooligan. Really a dead teenager on crack. But
Fair.
I chose 3 other favorite ghost Pokemon. Miss Magius, ghost type Pokemon from Generation 4. It looks like it's wearing a witch hat. It evolves from Misdreavus when exposed to a dusk stone. It's great. I particularly have one in Pokemon Go that I love very deeply because it's great. It does good things for me. Chandelure, which is a ghost fire Pokemon introduced in Generation 5. It's the final form of Litwick. So it goes from Litwick to Lampent to Chandelure after exposed to a dusk stone. In Pokemon
It sounds like the
Sword and
pre-evolution
Shield,
to Nicolas Cage and Ghost Rider. It's a ghost fire Pokemon.
Yeah, it actually
it
looks
is.
a lot like you could imagine it becoming Ghost Rider.
That's his
Chandelure,
max. What is the super max evolution or whatever the heck they call those?
Gigantamax.
It's just giant Nicolas Cage with a
Gigantamax
flaming
form.
skull head.
I wish there was a real Gigantamax evolution for Chandelure, because in Pokemon Sword and Shield, in the ones I have Chandelure like Dynamaxed out because he's a fantastic one to get big with max flare. And then my last little ghosty Pokemon, and it's very sad, is one of the Pokemon that really reflect on our time, and also one that shows that even the Pokemon world is highly influenced by our own world, and that's Corsola. Corsola, first shown in Generation 3, is a water rock type. It's coral. It's meant to be coral, right?
Mm-hmm.
In Generation 3, it's very smiley. It's white and pink. It's very cute. In the Galar region, it is a ghost type. And it's this white, pale little thing that evolves into this even more sickly looking coral tree. And it's meant to be a reflection on, coral reefs are dying because we suck at taking care of things, humans, which Pokemon is also a sad testament to in a lot of ways. So the Galar region has Corsola with a ghost form. That's very depressing because the Galarian Corsola as a ghost type is basically the original Corsola but dead. It's very dark. As often, a lot of the Pokédex entries are very dark and depressing, and this is one of them. Actually, the Pokédex entry for the Galar region says the following: watch your step when wandering areas oceans once covered. What looks like a stone could be this Pokemon, and it will curse you if you kick it. And then in Shield,
James.
Sudden climate change wiped out this ancient kind of Corsola. This Pokemon absorbs others' life force through its branches. By the way, Pokemalarkey listeners, if you haven't gone through the terrifying tales that are the Pokédex entries,
Horrifying.
go take a look.
Absolutely.
Some of them are
Don't read them before bed.
Some of them are really dark.
May I suggest just a Watch Mojo top 10 crazy Pokédex? It won't give you the whole picture, but you get a nice teaser of that.
That's a good idea. Another ghost Pokemon, Driftbloom, is basically like the balloon from It.
Yeah.
And it will take your kids.
It's
Watch
horrifying.
out. Anyway, so those are my 3 ghost Pokemon that I really love. I almost always have in my Sword and Shield my Sword and Shield gang, a Chandelure, sometimes a Corsola, depending on my mood. But I almost always have the Chandelure because I love the demented Chandelier. It's very campy, very gay, very fun. So I've got to have it.
That's beautiful. I did go outside of Pokemon top 3. Number 3 is the one I want to spend at least a minute talking about. The other 2 will go faster. Number 3 is Scapegoat, which is a Yu-Gi-Oh card. Who's technically a zombie, but he has ghost in the name. It's Scapegoat, but it's a monster type with a flip effect, and he's a tuner. He's a 1-star tuner. I use a zombie deck where I very badly need more dark tuners than I have. It's basically him and Unizombie. And don't tell me about Trap Zombie, or the Trap Eater. I can't play that in my deck. It's just not gonna work. But yeah, so this is adorable little Scapegoat, and he's a tuner, and then you flip him, and you can summon as many as you have space for tokens, one star ghost type Scapegoat tokens, and it just strikes me as adorable, and it's an impactful card to me, even though it never works as good as I want. Number 2 is the Flying Dutchman from SpongeBob, because he is one of my favorite side characters in all of cartoons. I love the Flying Dutchman. And number 1 is Haunter, since I saw this episode. If not then definitely since I played the game, because like I said, Haunter and Kadabra, I would go out of my way to find an Abra and grab a Ghastly, evolve them up immediately, and I didn't have friends at least ones that had Game Boys, so I would cap out at Kadabra and Haunter. But then this episode, and we'll touch on it a little more in the next episode, of why I like him so much, shows through more in the next episode. But he is just my favorite ghost in fiction.
I would just like to call everyone's attention to, first of all, if you don't like SpongeBob, get out here. This isn't for you. You're not allowed to hear us talk. But second of all, the introduction we have to the Flying Dutchman is literally one of my favorite things to ever happen in cartoons, mainly because Patrick and SpongeBob get taken, and Squidward gets taken too, and he doesn't want to get taken, and like he gets put into I think it's the Fly of Despair, and like the Flying Dutchman unzips it, and Squidward's like, "Oh, what is that?" And he's like complaining, and he throws Squidward in there, and Squidward just and he's like screaming on the way down, and it is absolutely horrifying. And SpongeBob and Patrick, of course, are terrified, and like Squidward is so scared. And that's the one where they wish, and eventually Squidward falls through this terrifying Fly of Despair, makes it back home, and he goes, "Okay, I'm back home." And of course they wish Squidward was back there, and he gets back there, and he's very upset. I love the Flying Dutchman episodes, Shawn. That is a great pick.
Thank you. I really thought you'd appreciate
it. A very good pick.
He does such a good job, or they do such a good job of taking this sort of centuries old horrifying legend that probably used to actually give people nightmares and turning him into a tremendous comic relief.
Well, you've seen, if any of you have seen Pirates of the Caribbean, the Black Pearl, not the Black Pearl, the Flying Dutchman is a villain and a ship.
And so they said I'm not versed in pirate lore, but I presume that the seeds of the Flying Dutchman were probably very terrifying to people who sailed the high seas at one point. Jesse, I know we're a smidge over time, but I need just a minute. I would be remiss if I didn't mention some other fictional ghosties that we love. They just didn't have a spot in our top 3s, and that's fine. But I've got, of course, Nearly Headless Nick, or whichever your Harry Potter ghost is your choice. That's all fine. Phantomon is the terrifying phantom ghost Pokemon or ghost Digimon that one. He like pulls Myotismon's carriage, and he's horrifying looking. Bakumon is stupid. I'm not a fan of that. Weird and Bogle from the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo. That's a good one. Or the Boo Brothers from another Scooby-Doo movie. That's good. And of course Casper. I wrote down Casper, the age-old. Casper was probably the first like pop culture kid cartoon ghost. I'm just guessing. I don't actually know that.
That feels right. And can I humbly add in another cartoon favorite?
As many as
Danny
you want.
Phantom.
I love Danny Phantom. I used to have such a big crush on his mom, and there's a weird corner of the internet for people like me.
Yeah, I love that you had a crush on his mom, because me as a child, I definitely had a big-ass crush on Danny Phantom.
He's a handsome guy.
A lot of the internet has a crush on Danny Phantom and his dad.
The dad I don't get.
I've seen some sick stuff.
The dad I don't get at all. But Danny himself, especially with the white hair, he's got a great look to him. That's a great addition. Thank you for noting that.
I want to take your pickles. Squidward, when he pretends to be the Flying Dutchman in the very first episode of the very first SpongeBob Halloween episode.
It's incredible. Go watch him. Jesse, we're past on intended time. I apologize for my long-windedness. Take us home.
Listen, it's Spooktober. We like spooky things, and it just so happens that there are a lot of ghosts out there. We didn't even scrape the surface of ghosts.
We did
So,
not. We did not.
Thank you
Which
for
we don't
listening.
do for anything. Okay, we're not here to be,
That's true.
an exhaustive.
We're not exhaustive.
We
We're
are
not encyclopedic.
We're just here to put a light smile on your beautiful faces.
I'm just having fun.
Yeah. Thank you
But
so
this
much
was
for watching
Pokemalarkey.
Pokemalarkey. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
No, you take it home. You're
Thank
killing it.
you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for
Spooky emotions.
tuning in to Pokémalarkey. We'll tune in with you next week. Contact information is in the description. And Shawn and I, if we don't die or maybe resurrected, we'll be back next week. So see you then.
Thank you. See you guys later.